Shipbuilders for new inter-islander ferry announced. They're called GIS. Guangzhou Shipyard International will build 2 new inter-islander ferries. Will arrive in 4 years' time, the government has announced. Now, Chewie, if they've signed the contract, they know how much it will cost.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got my builder, booked my builder to build my house. He's going to take 12 months to do it. How much is it going to cost? Haven't talked about that yet. Of course,
commercially sensitive.
you know. Of course, you know. They haven't actually said that. The government revealed in March it would buy 2 new inter-islander ferries to replace the current aging fleet. The new ferries are expected to come into service in 2029. Finance Minister Nikki Noboats pulled the plug on the previous government's Cook Strait mega ferry deal named
Via text.
in
Mega
2023.
ferry. Hate that term. Just a new ferry, thanks.
The new ships would be 200 metres long and rail enabled, which meant rail freight could be rolled on and off them. So I ground some numbers today. I'll bring up my tweet so I've got it right to hand. Now, there is a really important word that Mr. Peters used today. And the word, Chewie, was actually, there was a really important letter that Winston used today. And Winston's speech can be brought to you today by the letter S. The use of the letter S was very important today by Mr. Winston, Mr. Peters, because he promised to save the country billions, with an S, of taxpayer dollars by securing GSI to build the ferries. The S is important on that word. Billions, that's multiples of a billion, which means at least 2 of them. You don't save 1.2 billion and call it billions. So Mr. Peters has come out and he's used the letter S today. And it's very important for a couple of reasons. And the quote is actually in here. We can show you if you want me to be checked. I can check myself before I rickety wreck myself. No, I'm not going to be able to find it. It's in there. Trust me. Go look at it yourself. Why are you making me do all the work? Selfish. And I'm actually going to be a little bit gracious to this government. The IREX blowout was up to 3 billion. Some reports said it could be up to 4 billion. So let's call it 3.5 billion, somewhere in the middle, 3.5 billion. Mr. Peters has said today he is going to save the taxpayers billions. So that takes your 3.5 billion down to 1.5 billion because you've got to save a couple of billion. The sunk costs and the break fees have already cost us close to $700 million, like 680, 675, something like that. That means Mr. Peters, to hit his target, has $800 million. When we ordered the IREX ferries, they were going to cost $550. And that was in a time before the dinosaurs when you could build something at a reasonable cost. Mr. Peters, to hit his target of using the letter S, billions, has to get 2 ferries, do 2 wharves, and all the infrastructure, Chewie, for about 800 million. And that's me being generous, because if we go to the 3 billion number, that drops to about 400 million. That's all he's got to hit the savings of billions.
Well, remember, they may still try to do a sneaky.
A private partnership or something?
No, well, see, one of the things with the massive cost blowouts of the mega ferry project is it wasn't the ferries.
No, yep.
The shoreside infrastructure, right? So when they shit canned that, and a lot of the shuffling of the project from there is they were going to try and push the costs of the shoreside infrastructure off onto the councils in Wellington and Picton, so they could get that cost out of this ferry deal that they were doing. Because if you're going to come around and go, oh, well, the IREX was going to cost, say, $5 billion, all told, everything, all inclusive. And then I've gone and done a deal for not 3 ferries, but 2 ferries from China, and it comes in at, $1.5 billion or whatever. You can go, see how much money I sold. Are we going to talk about the shoreside infrastructure that we still need to do because Pixon's wharf is like over 120 years old? No, we're not going to talk about that. I'm a genius. I've saved so much money. Everything else is user pays. Everything else is coming out of ratepayers. We're not going to talk about it. Thank you, job done. So that is what I think is going to come out of here. The other thing I want to mention is the shipyard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very busy shipyard, Pat. Do you know why?
Why?
They're building invasion barges for Taiwan at the moment. It's a massive shipyard, but the People's Liberation Army Navy is doing a lot of their building there at the moment as well.
It seems to be a pretty. I mean, like I don't think we can question actually the shipyard, like itself. It's been going since 1954, I think I read. So it's been around. It seems to do the job.
It's a huge shipyard. But yeah, I don't know. One of the things that I thought of when I heard it was a Chinese shipyard is what shipyard has the better reputation.
Yeah. And
the Hyundai shipyard has a stellar international
gold standard,
like gold standard. So yeah. I mean, this comes back to something that I've criticised Winston before. He criticised the talking about the shoreside infrastructure. I was saying they were going to build a Taj Mahal in Picton. This whole thing of
second-hand Corolla.
New Zealanders don't deserve nice things.
Yeah,
we don't have enough money. And again, it comes back to what we've been banging the pot about the whole time. Is we have the money. We have the means to get the money. We have low international debt levels. We have a class, a property owning class that is being undertaxed. And we are buying a long-term piece of infrastructure that is worth doing right. Do I think these Chinese manufactured ferries are going to have the same longevity? I think they have a big fucking question mark over them. And I think it's a question mark that we wouldn't have over them if we had the IREX ferry, which was designed for us, for our conditions and our requirements. I think this is short-term thinking, once again, from this government.
I just want to say, Chewie, we as a community right now, we want to say thank you to the ratepayers of Marlborough and thank you to the ratepayers of Wellington, because you guys are going to be fitting the bill for that wharf infrastructure. So for the rest of from the rest of the country, from the bottom of our heart, I want to say thank you. If you're a Wellington ratepayer and you voted for this coalition of chaos, and now your rates are going to go through the roof because of this new infrastructure, thank you. Thank you, white man in his 60s, for your vote. Just kind of spitballing there. The other thing, though, is I think I've just finally seen a really good reason, from a spectator's point of view, that Andrew Little is the mayor of Wellington. Andrew Little fighting this government over wharf infrastructure will be worth watching. It will be worth watching.
Yeah. The other thing I haven't really seen the media making a big thing out of is the IREX project was for 3 ferries, right?
I thought it was 2, but I'll Google. Keep talking. I'll have a look.
Yeah. I think it was 3. 2 initially and then a third one following. Winston's talking about 2. And we're going from 3 ferries to 2. So, I mean, from a redundancy point of view, that doesn't seem ideal. Especially if they're not rail enabled, which we haven't had that confirmed either. We think Winston will go for rail enabled.
The original IREX order was for 2 new ferries. However, the project has been cancelled, and the new order is for 2 different ferries to be built by Guangzhou Shipyard International. Now, that's just an AI scrape of Google, but that's what it says.
Okay. So yeah, there was always two ferries. I guess that they were,
But the difference is,
capitalizing on the fact that they were much bigger.
yeah, there were two ferries that probably would carry as many people and as many cars and as much packages. I can't think of the right word for that. I wanted to say stock because I've been working in a shop for so long at the moment. As would be three of the size that Winston's cargo. There you go, three at the size that Winston's ordering. So maybe your brain just got scrambled knowing the answer. Freight. That's something else. Thanks, Kiwi Sport. Freight.
Yep.
Cargo.
I think the other aspect as well, and I think it was when we had that guy from the Maritime Union on.
Yeah.
The fact when we're talking about capacity and how much it can handle, how many passengers it can take, cars, freight, trains, the whole works. When you're making a decision and you're looking at it and going, well, are these IREX ferries too big? Do we really need that? Again, you're buying a piece of infrastructure for like 50 years. You have to kind of plan for growth, right?
And I'm pretty sure, I mean, we should ask them again. If Clint's watching, he'll set up an interview because he does work with them. And for the conditions, the bigger the ferry, the strait, the Cook Strait, is ferocious. There is a certain height that the swell gets to that stops our current ferries that IREX would have just ploughed on. Now, these boats are also going to come in smaller. There's going to be a diminishing return for the kind of conditions they can also travel in. So there's that as well.
Old Mr. Frodo over on Twitch says, true, the article Pat was reading from says that they're rail enabled. So that's...
Did you say, sorry, did I miss that? Did you say they weren't? They are.
They are rail enabled.
Sorry, I missed it if you said they weren't. Yeah. My apologies.
So look, I am going to say that's fucking great that they're rail enabled. That is,
they're going to take one. They're going to take one carriage, but they are rail enabled. Isn't that what these guys do?
If there's something to salvage out of this whole debacle, is that they have decided to avoid the triple handling of goods going through the ferry. That is a good thing. There you go. There's some praise for the new ferry project.
There's one other good thing. I'm going to say a congratulations to whoever did the graphics at RNZ. That's kind of a cool graphic behind Mr. Peters there, the panels. I quite like it. So there you go. There's another reason to be. Yeah, it's very good. All right, so let's get to some of the starred chats. Slavery, says Arvids. James, 2 ferries, no redundancy for maintenance and repairs. But I mean, I think it was going to be 2 ferries anyway. So thank you, James. Arvid says, elderly white men love a boat. Wooming says, also, instead of port infrastructure lasting 100 years, now will only last 50 years. Winston deferring costs until long after he starts pushing up daisies. I think technically he might have already started. I see sometimes a kind of a mold forming on him, so that might already be in the process. And it's in the ballot. It says it's not Wellington City Council ratepayers paying for the ferry terminal yet. It's Greater Wellington Regional Council, who is from Kapiti and Masterton to Wellington, who will be paying for the upgrades. We'll see. If that's the case, if that stays like that, then we'll say thanks to them. So thank you, Regional Council ratepayers. We appreciate your sacrifice. Thank you for your service, for helping us build ferry terminals at your expense because of this government. We would have helped you under the last government, Wellington, Marlborough. We would have helped you. We would have contributed through our collective tax pot. But no, this government says Wellington wants to do this by themselves. Auckland, sit down. You know when it's at the end of the meal, everyone tries to pay? No. Oh, no, you're not paying. Put your wallet away, Auckland. But Wellington wants to pay for the ferry terminals. Marlborough wants to pay for their ferry. Put your wallet away, Otago. No, Marlborough won't have a bar of it. We're paying. We've got this one. You can get the next one. Basically what it is, but that's been forced on you by this government. So, kapai. I wonder, actually, in saying that though, Chewie, I wonder if anything could change should this government be a one-term government. I guess if there was a new government in, they could say, oh yeah, we'll just take over the cost of the infrastructure. And that could happen. That would be a pretty good, election promise. Because that's what's going to happen. This government's going to try and claim that they're saving money because others are now paying for portion X of the overall job. Obviously, the terminals are the main focal point. So there you go, Chippy. There you go, Marama. There you go, Rawiri. If we get in, we'll take over the cost. It'll become nationalised again because it is a national road of significance. It's just a watery one.